Hello, okay, yeah, so I've finally decided to do this video talking about black women and mental health. And basically, it's in response to still getting used to the idea of trying to talk while looking at myself in the screen at the camera, but never mind that. Yeah, it was a video posted by a website called theveggieshop.com, and on this video there's a black brother. I didn't get his name. I tried to look for his name on the video, but I couldn't find it, or on the website either. I couldn't find it. And it's a very enlightening, very positive video about health, like holistic health, like mind, body, and spiritual health. You know, how to run and fluctuate and flow like a wholesome person. So basically, yeah, it's a very good video. But he mentioned how about halfway through the video, the brother mentioned how a lot of black women today, in this day and age, are experiencing nervous breakdowns, mental breakdowns, and being hospitalized. So I found it interesting. I did actually watch the video again a second time, and I did on the second time recognize that he didn't only just mention black women. He did say, you know, people in general, black men and women, or the black and Asian community, something like that. But he did originally emphasize black women. So the point that he emphasized black women and mental health, how a lot of them these days are experiencing hospitalization, it just struck a chord with me that he decided to focus on that. And it's been on my mind. But actually, from watching the video, I decided to just kind of put down my own thoughts on paper in response to what he was saying in the video, because he's a black man, I am a black woman. So I thought, well, this is my response to what he's saying in the video. And I've been toying with a few weeks and a few months now as to whether to do a video or not about it. You know, whether to release my thoughts into the atmosphere about it, if it's like relevant. This was before George Floyd and the protests and all the Black Lives Matter situation that we're all in at the moment. So since that time and now, I've been thinking, well, are my thoughts, is it worth starting this conversation? I don't know. Are they still relevant? Was it relevant then? Is it more relevant now or less relevant now in the wake of all these recent events? I don't know. I don't care. I thought, you know what? I'm going to do the video. I've got all my notes. I'll even show you them here. Okay, that's my notes. Okay. And I thought I'll release it, and whoever's, you know, more professional, whoever wants to write a book or discuss, you know, or, you know, decide what the conclusion or the action that should be taken, they can decide that, you know. But basically I just thought, yeah, let's just say what I have to say about it and end off. Why I'm saying that is because the video that I'm gonna do is a bit crude, because it is just literally my initial thoughts that just came out like that. I just want to get it out, yeah, of my system. But so please, you know, all the like intellectuals and all the experts, you know, who may be watching this video, please don't pick on like semantics and linguistics, you know, like look at the extra tiny detail, every single word that I'm saying, because that's not the point. This is kind of like a rough draft of, like I said, my initial, what my response was to what the black brother was saying in the video. And it was a very enlightening video, very knowledgeable video, very, pertaining to how we can be more wholesome beings, which is all good. It's all positive. So, but I just right now want to talk about black women and mental health, because I don't think that really it gets talked about enough. People don't, I think, really understand women enough. Never mind black women. So, yeah, so like I said, I'm just gonna read it through. I was thinking, what's the best way to communicate this? I'd prefer to do it like a TikTok video with the bullet points, that come up on the screen like this, bullet points. But, this is what happens sometimes with me. It's, I decide to do something that's supposed to take 5 minutes and it becomes like a thesis in itself. I think, do you know what? I may as well just divulge into the topic even more and maybe write a book or something like that. But like I said, on this occasion, I'll leave that to somebody like Bonnie Greer, or, some professional, some expert. I don't know. So basically, what I was saying is that, so there's a lot of reasons why people have nervous breakdowns, or once healthy people all of a sudden develop mental health issues. And black women are no exception to this. So here's some reasons why I think, more black women than ever before are having nervous breakdowns or being hospitalized. Okay, so number one, growing up with the expectation from family, community, etc., to be like their mothers, to be like their grandmothers, etc., etc., even though they've had a different cultural and generational experience from them being born and raised in a different country, different generation from their forebearers. Okay, that's number one. So instantly there's a dichotomy that's created between who we're expected to be in our family, with our immediate family, to who we are when we're with our friends, when we're with our peers, when we're out in the community, when we're out at work. It's almost like, we're not going skits, we're not two different people, but it's like we're brought up a certain way in our family background, and our brothers and our sisters and our mum and our dad expect us to behave a certain way. And then when we get with our friends and out into the community, when we're working, this kind of thing, we're kind of like, we do behave a different way. Some of these things, some of these points that I'm making, they can pertain to all of us in general as human beings, but I am particularly obviously emphasising, what black women, go through, experience. And women as well, white women, all women of all different cultures. I'm sure we all experience these types of things when I'm talking about. But like I said, the brother emphasised black women, so I'm emphasising black women. Okay, number two. Being expected to care and nurture for everybody else, but not themselves first. So our needs come last because we're expected to care for everyone else before putting ourselves as a priority first. Okay. Number three, we're expected to support everyone else around us, whereas we ourselves go unsupported. We don't receive much support from friends, family, or community. Okay, so I'm not saying, this is all black women, but obviously I'm emphasising the reasons why, some of the reasons why some black women may end up having nervous breakdowns or being hospitalised for mental health issues. So that's one of the reasons. Expected to support everybody else around you, whereas you yourself, where's the support? Where's my friends? Where's my family when I need them? Where's my community when I need them? Okay. Number four, receiving many cultural assumptions. Assumptions is the biggest word. I've put that in block capital letters, okay? Assumptions. We tend to assume a lot of what we're supposed see, this is why it's very difficult to translate what goes on up here. Okay, like this, you see. Receiving many cultural assumptions of what we're supposed to be like. For example, I've given a few examples. We always hear about the strong black woman. We don't need a man, you know. We're independent, strong black women. We hear this all the time. And we're expected to be this all the time. Not sometimes, all the time. Okay? There's a lot of perceptions that black women are loud. So if we're like, if it's almost as if we're not supposed to be quiet or demure, for example. And if you are kind of quiet or demure, you know, we're seen as kind of like soft and like woolly-headed, you know, or there's something wrong with you. Okay. Number 5. There's a lot of assumptions. I think, yeah, anyway. Number 5. We're something smells fresh. Look fresh. We're almost culturally not allowed to be or feel weak or vulnerable. And if we ever are or we feel weak or vulnerable, this comes with a lot of heavy judgment. Okay, number 6. If we speak up about anything or experience anything, our experience suddenly becomes a shared experience. Okay, suddenly we become the voice for everybody. Okay, which lessens then, in other words, the individual person. Okay, it's like once we speak up, it's like, you know, we're the voice for everyone, like a medium or something, you know. Okay, number 7. 7, receiving on a daily basis many racial stereotypes, racial taboos, sometimes abuse, and it can be very out there, very covert or overt. It can be very kind of out there, or it can be very subtle. For example, like being seen as like animalistic, dog, you know, kitty cat, psst, come here, kitty cat. If you're in the kitchen, you're automatically a maid. If you're in the bedroom, you know, you're automatically a whore. Okay. We don't really have any individual sense of person. Okay. I'm not seen as a person. I'm just seen as a black woman. And that's it. You're black and you're a woman. And that's it. You're not seen as a person. Okay. Maybe black brothers feel or experience the same thing or similar things. I don't know. I wouldn't know because I'm not a black man, and I've not had this kind of conversation with any of my brothers or any black male in my family, or any other black man. I've not had this conversation. So I don't know. Maybe they feel the same. I don't know. Only just recently we were all talking about Black Lives Matter. So, you know, we're all getting aware and enlightened at the moment as to how black people have been feeling for centuries. So all this is kind of like, you know, it's new territory for everybody. So, number 8. Whatever you do, whatever you are as a black woman, it's solely because you are a black woman. So, for example, if you are happy, this isn't an essay. This is not for university, okay? So, for example, if you're happy, it's because you're black. If you're sad or upset, it's because you're a black woman. If you're angry or hurt, it's automatically because you're a black woman. You and the processes that you go through are always your fault, okay? And you're the cause of your own situation and your own problem, okay? It's never admitted to by somebody else, by another person. Okay, I'm going to talk about narcissistic abuse later. That's kind of part of narcissistic abuse, when your voice isn't being heard and you're being gaslighted. You know, we're all learning these new, thanks to the internet, social media, you know, We're all learning these new terms like narcissistic abuse and gaslighting and ghosting and all this other stuff, So, for example, if you're feeling horny or you're feeling, like you want to get it on, you're feeling a bit sexual, being black, you tend to be like sexualized. You must be like hyper or overly sexualized. If you're like feeling horny or you want attention, male attention or attention in that department, it's like, oh, you're hypersexual, you're like over sexual, like what's wrong with you, black woman? Like calm yourself down, black woman, like what is wrong with you, black woman? It's like that. If you're not horny, I'm generalizing extremely here. If you're not horny or you're not, or you're a bit something, then you must be a lesbian or you're a man in disguise or there's something wrong with you. Okay? Can't read mine right. Anyway, so, yeah. If you wear makeup or you do your hair, you want to look nice, you want to look feminine, put some makeup on, you do your hair, you fix your nails, this and that. You're trying to be something that you're not. Okay? If you don't wear makeup, you just want to wear your hair natural and you don't want to put any slap on your face, oh, you're dry. It's like you can't win. Like, should I wear makeup? Should I not wear makeup? Who am I trying to please here? Myself? Somebody else? What's going on? Okay. If you're confident and you have a voice and you're assertive, you're seen automatically or perceived as aggressive and a threat. It's like, oh my God, the black woman's speaking. What's she saying? It's like that. That's the effect it has. She's too loud. Shut her ass down. Let's just shut her down. What's she talking about? Black woman, go home. Go feed your pitney them. Go in the kitchen them. Go wash your plate them. Go cook them. Just shut the woman down. Say, okay? Yeah. Number 9. Okay. Seeing the likes of, I love the Kardashians. Okay? Got nothing against Kardashians. I love Khloe, I love Kim, I love all of them. Kourtney, I love all of them. Got nothing against any of them, okay? But seeing, for example, the likes of them on TV, for example, continually appropriate black culture as their own. And then they're hailed as some kind of beauty queens, okay? For what naturally the black woman has naturally. What's up with that, Look at that. You see? Number 10. This is something personally I think goes on in black families and in the black community that's not really doesn't get like touched, highlighted at all, which I think it does actually, which is number 10. The need to be perfect all the time or the best at everything. Okay, you can't be average, you can't be mediocre. I mean, it happens in the Asian community a lot, where the parents put a lot of expectation on their children, and that's like a well-known thing in the Asian community. But personally, I found and I think that there's something very similar going on in black families, in the black community, that doesn't get really talked about, but it is there. And I'm not sure if it's the same as like having high expectation as it is like you've always got to be seen to be being like at your pristine, perfect best all the time, especially to onlookers from the outside, because it's almost like, don't let them find out you're a nigger, it's almost like that or something, like don't let that attitude come out, like make sure your hair looks like perfect, it's gotta look perfect, it's like, I don't know, anyway, yeah. So, yeah, like hearing things such as you have to work twice as hard. I hate hearing that. I don't hear it much, but I heard it said on America's Top Model to one of the models, and I hate hearing that. Like, why should I have to work like twice as hard as the next person to reap the same benefits and the same rewards as the next person because I'm black. Why? So, and basically, if you're not always seen as like perfect, then otherwise, any fault within you is met with criticism that's not within reason. You're being heavily criticized and judged for the same standards that you see other people carrying. Yeah. There was another assumption I missed out, which is obviously like, you're seen as like a coconut, or you're acting white. If you're speaking too articulate and too well, just too much, a lot of nonsense. Experiencing hatred basically on a daily basis, basically for being brown. Okay. So obviously, so there's many reasons why people, obviously, black, white, brown, whatever they are, end up having either, if they were once healthy and sound, and they, after so many years or suddenly out of the blue, they develop mental health issues. Obviously, there's a reason. Obviously, there's something going on there. But other things that I didn't really touch on, because this could be, like I said, anyone could write a book about this. Things like narcissistic abuse, childhood trauma, relationship breakdown. Obviously, these are reasons why people, of all colour, end up with this thing happening to them. So basically, in conclusion to all this obvious constant barrage on the human psyche, obviously it's going to have an effect, which is why some, not all, some black women, a percentage of them end up having nervous breakdowns and or being hospitalised. I've basically concluded that every mental health experience is an individual experience and different from another. That's obvious, like I said, regardless of race, culture, and these things. Some recover quickly, better than others. Some recover to go on to lead healthy, wholesome, productive, fulfilled lives. Having an episode of mental health, and once you do recover and you feel maybe it happened so many years ago, but you have recovered, that leaves a stigma in the in the community and with family and with friends, which that in itself can in turn still be affecting your well-being, because you even though you're better now, you're still having to prove to people, well, I don't have that issue anymore. So that in itself can cause another problem. Okay. And not only that, but with life in general, regardless of whether you had a mental health situation or not, people do change as well. And usually when someone's had something like this happen to them, they go through a process of change afterwards, like a transformation, which is part of their growth. It's part of their personal journey. So that in turn can also create another problem, because family and friends and the community, they may see that, okay, this person's different now. And then they're looking at that, okay, well, as if that's a symptom of their mental health. And then the person, even though they might feel better, they're constantly trying to prove and say to people, well, no, I'm a different person now. I've changed. I'm different. Okay? I've grown. And that as well can cause another situation in itself. So, yeah, that's all my notes. Basically, I just wanted to obviously when you're talking about certain situations such as this, mental health, positive well-being, and all this sort of thing, basically it's good to get enlightened, it's good to get informed, but I just wanted my own personal opinion as well. I just wanted to include that some people are very well researched, and some less so than others, but if you do look a little bit into mental health and the history of diagnosis, oh, that as well. Sometimes people are wrongly diagnosed as having mental health situations. But that's another topic as well. What I want to say is that with the NHS and, you know, all these psychologists who do all these studies and write all these books, diagnose people as having some form of mental health issue, a lot of their diagnoses are going from textbooks from psychologists such as Sigmund Freud, that are very Western, very European, going from a time of like the 1800s and from before then. So people of today and people of colour of today are being diagnosed by, it's almost like an outdated model. As well as that, with mental health, with psychology, you've got Western psychology and like diagnosis. You've got Eastern psychology diagnosis, the Ayurvedic method. The Ayurvedic Eastern method takes into consideration this mind, body, and soul connection. It takes into the consideration that we're spiritual soul beings on a journey, whereas this outdated 18th century Western Europeanized model diagnosing people with mental health is that, you know, the way they diagnose, you know, when you go to the GP, the way they diagnose in general, if you've got something physical wrong with you, is they look at the human body as if it's a car that's like broken down and needs fixing, which is why they just prescribe pills, because they look at the outside. Okay, what's broken down? How do we fix it? Okay, this is why they issue out pills to fix the situation. They're not looking at the person as an individual person, as a soulful being, as an emotional being that's going through like, you know, nature and nurture, being influenced by their environment and by their friends and by their peers and by their work and all this, and social media and all this outside stuff going on. Obviously, it's going to affect you, isn't it? Obviously, it's going to affect you mentally. What you're seeing, what you're perceiving, who your friends are, who your family is, how people are behaving towards you, with you. You know, if you're being included in the community, or if you're being excluded from the community, or if you're being bullied for, you know, maybe having a spot on your nose or whatever, or, you know, one of your lips is like bigger than the other, or whatever the case may be. They're not taking all of that into consideration when they're diagnosing you. They're just looking at, okay, something's gone wrong upstairs in the brain. What's gone wrong? How do we fix it? As if you're like a computer or something. We're not computers, people. We're human beings. So, you know, it's up to you. We're all into this thing of, you know, mental health and well-being. You know, even, you know, some of the princes, you know, they're like ambassadors for this topic now. If you really want to divulge into like mental health and well-being, it's really good to do some research and look, like I said, at the history of cases of, you know, the history of psychiatry, you know, and locking people up, you know, for going or being insane. You know, look at what they did, what they used to do to people. And, you know, back in like 1800s, and how some of those methods and models are still being used today. Okay, we're not animals, people. We're not guinea pigs. We're not robots. We're not computers. We're human beings. That's a human being, not a human doing. So, on that note, I think I've talked enough. This jacket is making me sweat. I'm getting hot. I need to take it off. I need to take my makeup off. I need to go to bed and get some sleep. Thank you very much. Good night. Bye-bye. I hope you found this video informative and enlightening. if nothing else.